Attention everyone, the trial for the murder case against the defendant, Mr. Tama, is in session.
Mr. Manguntama, I believe to reach an agreement, we have to say where really the truth is. In this case, where you are charged with a premeditated murder against the victim, Mr. Oscar. Do you plead guilty?
Your Honor, I believe I'm not guilty. I never tried kill people before.
The defense would like to call Mr. Adit to the court.
Your Honor, might I receive the permission to describe what I've seen on that night?
Your request is granted. You may allow yourself.
At that time, around 8:30 p.m., I was on the park with a couple of my friends in the neighborhood near Mr. Oscar house. The front yard hasn't turned on, and strangely, the floodlight lamp toward the park hasn't turned on like he always does. So it was really dark at that time, and the park itself doesn't have any working light. So an additional defense, the park itself real dark at that night, at that time. Sorry, I may say something different to what happened on the scene.
It's alright, as in this case, you are the one of the main witnesses on scenes. Please elaborate what you see, of course, without making up any external accusations.
Thank you, Mr. Advocator. As I said before, the park was really dark, so me and my friend stayed not that long. After some pep talk at the mid of our conversation, we hear a gunshot from far away that came from against Mr. Oscar's house. We were scared at first, but we decided to stay as we were conscious. We might become a witness at place, or might find and secure the culprit running away from the scene. We become aware to our surrounding, and after some time, I take a glance on my phone before the battery ran out. I believe the time was 9 p.m., and after that, we hear a really bad scream came behind the park. We were too scared to move around, and right after that, I see a silhouette from Mr. Oscar's house. It appears to be a male with skinny figures and a height around 6 feet, also with pretty short hair. Okay, and may I continue my description? After some talk with my friend, we prepared to the worst as we were unharmed, coming into Mr. Oscar's yard. The men seems were on lookout around the house. Our eyes meet. All I can see was a smile from that man as his eyes were covered with the shadow. He looked innocent, so we didn't really elaborate. After that, we went on our own.
Okay, Mr. Adit, we have here now, and you please step out of the court, as we would like to call out another witness. Mr. Willie, to the court.
Your Honor, may I make a review to the call?
Allow yourself.
I will recall on what really happened on that scene at that night. Around 8 p.m., I was walking around on the sidewalk with my dog. It was pretty close for Mr. Oscar's house, and the place was really dark. So it was really dark. So I took the flash out of my phone. I did notice there were a fan stopping in front of the house. I remember there was two men standing outside the fan with the same figure as mentioned by Mr. Adi. The truth is, they are not dangerous as I can tell. They work as a postman and I see them every once a week. They were going inside the fan after 3 minutes just passed by. I believe they aren't the real perpetrator, but the real one is Mr. Mangun, who I believe have a grudge on Mr. Oscar long before this
Would
happened.
you please elaborate how you can make such a conclusion? It doesn't make sense. How do you even try to tie the road that was not even relatable?
All in all, it takes two tango for a quarrel. It's been a public secret that Mr. Mangun have taken a loan before to Mr. Oscar. I could say it has become a burden to Mr. Mangun since he can't pay up the entire debt. In my opinion, Mr. Mangun is the real perpetrator.
Objection, Your Honor. I was not even the crime scene. I was my friend's house in
Before
3 months.
you, Sid, a cold-blooded killer, the evidence is refutable. The victim, Mr. Oscar, was found brutally murdered in his own home. A wound to the head of the victim. As the stories support the defendant, Mr. Mang.
Objection, Your Honor. The protection is attempting to sway the jury with inflammatory language. There is no evidence of cold blood killing beyond more speculations.
Objection overruled. Prosecutor, continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mangun's alibi crumbles under scrutiny. He claims to have been at a friend's house, yet no one can corroborate his story. Furthermore, forensic evidence places Mr. Mangun at the crime scene. His DNA was found on the murder weapon, and fibers from his clothing match those found at the victim's residence.
Your Honor, the prosecution conveniently ignores the crucial facts. The DNA evidence is inconclusive. It could have been transferred innocently, and the fibers, those could have come from anywhere. This is circumstantial evidence at its weakest, as desperate attempts to paint an innocent man.
Innocent, you say? Mr. Mangun stood to gain significantly from Mr. Oscar's demise. They were embroiled in a bitter dispute over a substantial sum of money. Mr. Mangun was deeply in debt and saw Mr. Oscar was his only way.
Urge you, members of your judge, to look at the evidence objectively. Do not let the prosecution emotional appeals cloud your judgment. Demand proof, not assumption. Demand justice for the defendant, a man who deserves his freedom. I demand justice for my cousin!
Order! The court, apprehend the man!
The court has reconvened. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the unexpected event occurred commenced causing a significant elements into the proceedings.
Prosecutor, the suddenly arrival of Mr. Pelpa as the third witness raises a serious question about integrity of the
Your Honor,
evidence
we are still investigating the matter. It is premature to draw conclusions. We believe it was an act of panic, potentially unrelated to the case itself.
During murder trials, after providing testimony, this explanation strains credibility. Prosecutor.
Bill of Light is not merely a panic. It is a blunt admission as one of his relatives died on the spot, or at the very least, a clear indication that he possessed information that directly contradicted the prosecution narrative. His actions have cast a shadow of doubt over every piece of evidence presented.
Members of the jury, you have witnessed an extraordinary event. While the prosecution apprehends that Belpa is inconsequential. Mr. Tama, you have been accused of a grave crime. The prosecution has presented evidence and the defense has countered with arguments.
However, the unexpected flight of a witness has created a situation where the court can, in good conscience, allow the trial to proceed as planned.
For I am declaring a mistrial.
Your Honor, with all due respect, this is unprecedented.
Order! The court will not tolerate interruption. The escape of a key witness has prudently altered the landscape of the trial. It's duty of the court to ensure fair and important process. Administration is the only just course of action. The prosecution will be given an opportunity to conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding Belfa are friends and a potential connection from another perspective to encounter of Mr. Oscar. The defendant will remain in custody unless bail is granted after a new hearing. This court is adjourned.